Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see what if Issei had ultimate gacha system. Part 9. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Draconic Deus is the name given to the earth of the Xverse. Finally, Issei and Rainer have returned home with a few new companions, Yang Xin, Xiaoninger and Yu Yan. When the dimensional travel was successful, Issei and the others arrived in front of the Hyoudou household. Looking at the people that had arrived, Yang Xin and Ninger were nervous. Why? That's because they would be meeting Issei's parents. To be fair, they were nervous because they got married to Issei without their permission. Are you girls nervous about meeting my parents? Issei asked. Shiner and Ninger nodded their heads. Issei then patted their shoulder to calm them down. There's nothing to worry about. My parents aren't that strict and they love you. Are you sure that your parents won't mind me? Yang Xin asked. She accepted that she was in love with Issei and is now married to him. But her age is more than that of Issei. Yang Xin is afraid that Issei's parents might think she was a cradle robber. I mean, I'm older than you by a significant gap. Ah ha ha. Rainer laughed. This was hilarious since she was so much older than Yang Xin. There is nothing wrong with that. I mean, do you know how old I am? I've lived in the Hyoudou household for a while now and they know my age. Let me tell you, I'm more than a few thousands of years old. Yang Xin and Ninger were surprised at this revelation. However, Yu Yan wasn't, as she knew their people that looked young despite living for such a long time. After all, Yu Yan herself is thousands of years old. I knew that if one was to reach a certain level of cultivation, they would regain their youth, but all this time, I thought Rainer was the same age as Issei, Shiner said. She then looked at Issei. Could it be, Issei, you're into older women? I won't deny that older women have their charms. Whether it's their maturity, developed curves and whatnot, Issei said. But to him, all that was secondary. A woman can be the most beautiful person in the world, but if she had a toxic personality, Issei would never find interest in her, no matter how beautiful she was. However, all that is secondary. I want a woman that has the drive to better herself, has a goal in life, and has a beautiful and unique personality. For example, there is Akeno. One would think that she was a proper lady. One could say she's a Yamato Nadeshiko. But in reality, she is a sadist that likes to play with her enemies. However, in all her sadist nature, she has a hidden masochistic tendency. Yet, she is as caring as she is beautiful with all that. Another is Sarapul. She is playful and fun to be with. However, when a situation calls for it, she would be serious at the drop of a hat. If there is anyone that she cares about gets hurt, she will do whatever it takes to make the people that hurt them pay 100 folds. Then there is Kaneko. She is aloof and timid looking. However, beneath her petite frame is a strength beyond one would imagine. If it's for the people she cares about, she wouldn't mind putting herself in harm's way to protect them. One thing I love about Kaneko is when she purrs whenever I rub her head. This is something she would never let anyone else do. All the women interested in you seem to be quite amazing people, Ninger said. But no matter how amazing they are, she isn't any worse than them. This was Ninger's competitive nature showing itself. I would love to meet them in person. As much as you love to meet them, I think you'll be meeting my parents first, Issei said. He smirked at Ninger and Shiner. The two women shivered at the reminder. Ha ha ha. Calm down. They aren't bad people. Issei then opened the door to the house and they all entered. I'm home. Issei shouted. Immediately, multiple people went to meet him. You guys are all in the same area. That's rare. What were you doing? And why does Zenobia look defeated? Don't mind Zenobia, we were playing board games. Zenobia lost badly since she thought she could brute force everything in the game, Mickey said. She was smiling since she finally got to see her son after a day. But then she saw 3 new additions beside him. Issei. Who are the guests? Right, these are Yang Xin, Xiaoninger and Yu Yan, Issei said. The trio bowed at Mickey. 2 of which called Mickey mother. They'll be living with us. Mother, I would like to formally introduce myself, Yang Xin said. She did so with a respectful bow while capping her hand. I am Yang Xin. You may call me Shiner. I am one of Issei's wives. I would also like to formally introduce myself as Yang Xin did, Ninger said. She was doing the same bow and capping of hands as Yang Xin. I am Xiaoninger, one of Issei's wives. Mickey, Goru and the rest of the sane people in the house were shocked. Not because of Yang Xin, but because of Ninger. What the fuck? Mickey shouted. She was pissed. This couldn't be happening. Her Issei is a lolican. What the hell is going, Issei? You better explain yourself. What's wrong? Issei asked. He didn't understand what was going on. Issei hasn't done anything wrong. Did I do something wrong? Did you do something wrong? You can't be serious. You don't even know if you did something wrong. Mickey said. She then pointed at Ninger. The little girl didn't lie when she said that she was married to Issei as she saw a ring on her finger and a ring on Issei. How could you marry a little girl, Issei? She looks no more than 13 years old. It was then that Issei realized. He forgot to remove the illusion he set on Ninger. At the moment, Ninger looks no more than 13. A girl that just entered her prepubescent age. To Issei, Ninger looked like her adult form due to illusions not working on him, as he needs to actively allow illusions to affect him if he wants to see the illusion. Quite the opposite of what others have to do. Hold on a minute. Issei said. He understood why his mother was so angry at him. Mickey thought that he was a lolicon. I swear to God she isn't 13. And I haven't done anything to her. Issei then removed the illusion on Ninger, revealing her actual body. Seeing what Ninger looked like made Mickey sigh a breath of relief. Her son wasn't a lolicon. Boy. You nearly gave your mother a heart attack, Goru said. Although, even he was about to get a heart attack when Ninger announced herself as Issei's wife. But he was never going to reveal that. Thankfully, her childlike look was only an illusion. Irina stared at Issei. She was lagging behind. Irina couldn't believe that Issei was now married to 3 women. That's right, she saw Rainer also wearing a ring. Ahem, now that misunderstanding has been cleared, I would like to do the same introduction as Ninger and Sheener. I would like to formally introduce myself, Rainer said. She bowed her head and gave a wonderful smile. I, Rainer, am also one of Issei's wives now. The 3 girls showed off their rings. Each ring they wore was unique. Oh, my, Mickey said. A day ago, Rainer was only Issei's girlfriend. But now, she was married to her baby boy. Well, I welcome you 3 to the family with open arms. Mickey was smiling. If Issei has these many wives, he will surely have many children in the future. Meaning that she would have many grandchildren to spoil. But that wasn't all. Mickey knew that there were many more women interested in Issei. That's right, Rainer talks to Mickey about people interested in her son. Mickey couldn't stop but imagine a house filled with her grandchildren playing with her and having fun. Goru was similar to Mickey. However, in his imagination, he was the cool grandpa. Mickey and Goru grabbed either side of Issei's shoulder and spoke in sync. Well done, Issei. Make us as many grandchildren as you can in the future. We expect more than 10 with all the women interested in you. Mickey and Goru said at the same time. Issei chuckled at his parents. He knew how much they would love to have grandchildren. In truth, Mickey and Goru wanted to have more children, but they were afraid. Before Issei was born, Mickey had 2 miscarriages. When Issei was born, they felt that he was a miracle to their family. Goru even prayed in the shrine for Issei's safe delivery during Issei's conception. However, that also came with a downside. Mickey and Goru were afraid and no longer willing to try for another baby. The 2 previous miscarriage was hard enough to deal with. They didn't want to go through another one, as Mickey was nearly wrecked at the guilt of being unable to give birth. The best they could hope for was Issei to find a wonderful wife and give them many grandchildren. Lastly, it was Yuyan's turn to introduce herself. I am Yuyan, Yuyan said. She then bowed her head. I am indebted to your son. If it wasn't for him, I would still be stuck inside a cave gathering my divine spark. Divine spark? Mickey asked. She looked at Issei for an explanation. What's that? Divine spark is the essence of a spiritual god who has cultivated the power of law, Issei said. He then continued to explain. Divine spark is quite a fantastic thing, as even when your body is destroyed, you can regather your divine spark and reconstruct your flesh and blood. So? She's a god. Mickey said. Issei nodded at her. I guess we have another god in our midst. Yuyan looked at Mickey with widened eyes. Another god in their midst? Which one of the people in front of her was the god? Issei saw Yuyan's curious expression and knew she was looking for the god amongst them. He simply slightly pointed at Office, the little girl hugging his waist. Mom, Dad, I have a few gifts to give you guys. But first, I need to create new rooms for Ninger and the others, Issei said. Although he knew that Ninger and Yang Xin would probably sleep in his bed in the future, Issei wanted to give them their own private rooms for them to use. This would be quite tiring, but it would be worth it. With Issei's control over the law of space, he was able to expand the space of the house with ease. His control was to the extent he didn't even feel that he's done anything. Before, when he expanded the space of the house for Rainer, Irina and Zenobia, Issei had to actively push the space to expand it, but now, all he did was think of expanding it, and it happened. This is amazing, Issei said. He was astonished at the power of controlling a law. Issei now had a taste of the law of space. He is excited for the time when he uses the laws of time, life and death. Hold on, I think I can use the law of time right now. Issei then headed to the bathroom and renovated it. It was a huge bathhouse-type bathroom. When he was satisfied with his renovation, Issei then used the law of time in the bathroom. He sped up time inside. It was a success. An hour inside the bathroom is equivalent to 10 minutes outside. Issei could have pushed the time difference further, but he needed to further train his control of the law of time. Otherwise, he could end up destroying the space around him. Unlike the law of space, this was the first time Issei was manipulating time. Ah ha ha. With this, the girls could no longer complain about needing a long time to prepare. They would have to spend 6 hours inside the bathroom to take an hour outside, Issei laughed. He would finally be able to take long baths as he did before. It would be nice to soak for a while in the bath like I used. When Rainer and the other girls arrived at the Hyoudou household, Issei didn't have much time to soak in the bath as they needed to do the same. Couldn't Issei make another bathroom? It's not as easy as making a room because he would need to attach the new toilet to the house's plumbing. It's simply a pain in the ass. So, Issei decided not to bother with it after making one additional bathroom. But of course, one additional bathroom was not enough when Irina, Zinovia and Sarapul started living in the Hyoudou household. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should upgrade the house plumbing and the electric grid of the house. I can use water stone and lightning stone to make water and electricity and would recharge itself using ambient mana in the air. Then I can make our own personal sewage which could be cleaned automatically by magic, Issei said. He was thinking of having the household of the Hyoudou family be utterly independent of the country. But doing that would be quite suspicious. Ha. Who cares? I can deal with it when it comes. I'll make the upgrades in a month. I still have other things to do in the coming days. After all, I'll be heading to the underworld to join the peace treaty of the three factions and other mythologies. After Issei was done creating the new rooms, he informed the others before he decided to head to bed. Issei was exhausted from his adventures in the Divine Continent. Not physically, but mentally. The following morning, while Issei and everyone were having breakfast, there was a doorbell ring. Issei answered and was surprised at who he saw. It was Irina's father, Hyoudou Taoji. Mr. Hyoudou? It's been a long time, Issei said. He knew what he was doing here. I assume you're here for Irina. I am, Taoji said. Before he came to Issei's house, he was told to be careful and not anger Issei. Do you mind if I come in? No problem, Issei said. He opened the door wide enough to allow Irina's father to enter. You can wait in the living room. I'll go and call Irina. Sorry for the trouble, Taoji said. He sighed and waited for Issei's return with Irina. Taoji was looking at the house and saw that it was vastly different from the way it used to be when he visited due to Irina coming over to play. How times have changed. I can't believe that Issei would be such a big player in the supernatural world. To top it all off, he is only 17 years old. What could have happened to force him to become such a powerful person? A few minutes later, Issei arrived in the living room with Irina. Dad? What are you doing here? Irina asked. Issei didn't tell her that her father was looking for her. If it's about returning to the church, I already decided not to come back. I decided to follow a different path. I'm not here for that. I just wanted to make sure that you're doing well, Taoji said. He smiled and gave his daughter a hug. Taoji missed Irina dearly. I also spoke to Michael and asked for a favor. If you're planning to continue staying in Japan with Issei, then the least you could do is continue your studies. With the favor I asked of Michael, you and Zinovia can enroll at Kuo Academy. Really, Irina said. She did want to continue her studies, but she didn't want to go to a school that was different from Issei's. So, this was a blessing for her. Thank you, Dad. Now, can you tell me everything that has happened so far? Taoji said. Irina pulled her dad to the couch. Calm down, Irina. No need to pull. Sorry. Irina apologized. She then cleared her throat before speaking. Ahem. I'll start from the beginning. Zinovia and I was sent here to Kuo to retrieve the fragments of Excalibur that was stolen. Irina recounted the events that happened. Issei left the room and let the father and daughter catch up. In the dining room, Miki, Goru and the others were interested in knowing who the visitor was. So, Issei? Who was at the door? Miki asked. But she had an inkling of who it might be due to Issei calling for Irina. Was it Hyoudou Taoji? Yup, Irina's father came to visit, Issei said. He sat down on his seat and continued eating while speaking to everyone. Issei would swallow his food before speaking. He came by to tell Irina that she and Zinovia would be going to school in Kuo. I'm going to be joining you as well. Zinovia asked. She didn't think that she would be going to school with Issei. That's going to be quite a new experience for me. Well, I hope it's an experience you'd enjoy, Issei said. He looked at Zinovia. The girl was getting closer and closer to him by the minute. Zinovia was serious when she said that she wouldn't let him go. So, he let her do what she wanted. Zinovia wasn't half bad. Issei then looked at his parents. Mom, Dad, remember when you asked me last time if I could help you get stronger so that I wouldn't have to worry about you being unable to protect yourselves? God, that was long ago, but we do, Miki said. It was years ago. Miki asked her son if there was a way that they could learn how to do things he does so that she could help her son and protect herself in case of danger. It turns out that Goru and I didn't have the talent or magic capacity to learn magic. Why do you ask? Although I'm not sure if I can teach you magic as I'm not sure if Divine Genki could be a substitute for mana, I have a way for you and Dad to get stronger so that you can protect yourselves in times of crisis, Issei said. He then took out a copy of Heaven's Path Cultivation Manual. If you were to cultivate according to this manual, you would gain the strength of a middle-class devil in the beginning stages. Wow. That's amazing. Sarapul said. Everyone was shocked at her arrival. Having the strength of a middle-class devil from the get-go is quite a feat. Where did you come from? Issei asked. He remembered that she wasn't home last night. I didn't see you here last night. So, I thought you might have returned to the underworld. Ah ha ha. I won't be returning to the underworld until later with you and Sona. I was with Sona teaching her transformation magic, Sarapul said. She was happy that Issei could make Sona love magical girl outfits. By the way, you seem to have additional women in the house. Are they your girlfriend? They're not, Rainer said. She then had a big smirk on her face. Rainer showed her finger with her wedding ring. Along with me, Yang Xin and Ninger, we are Issei's wives. No fair. Sarapul said. She was a little jealous that she didn't get a ring from Issei, but 2 new women did. So, Sarapul pouted. I've known Issei for longer. How come I don't get to have a wedding ring? Issei thought about it and he decided to give her a ring. If Sarapul was able to wear the wedding ring, her feelings for him were true. Of course, Issei was a little worried as Sarapul was a Satan in the underworld. Issei being married to her could become an issue for some of the higher-ups in the underworld. And again, he could just deal with the people that would dare cause trouble for him and Sarapul. In the backyard of the Hyoudou household, Sarapul is jumping with joy. Why? Because she finally got a wedding ring from Issei. As with the other 3, Sarapul also had to go through the same trial as they did. The wedding rings used the law of death from Issei and surrounded it on Sarapul, making her hallucinate her greatest fear. Earlier, within the hallucination, Sarapul saw Issei and Sona live a life without her. While the 2 enjoyed their lives, Sarapul was forgotten. What made this worse is when the hallucination showed Sona and Issei having children, not once did the couple ever mention Sarapul's name, as she was forgotten. To no longer be loved and cared for by the people she loves the most. That's Sarapul's greatest fear. She overcame her fear as she believed not only in Issei, but also in her sister. Sarapul's ring was white and gold bands intertwining with a pink gem in between. Hehehe, I finally have a wedding ring from Issei. Sarapul was admiring her ring as she jumped around. She has wanted to be with Issei in a more intimate capacity, but to think that she would be intertwined with him. That was even better. This is the ultimate marriage, I love it. Issei was laughing at Sarapul's enthusiasm. Oh, by the way, Issei. I was told to remind you that the peace treaty for the other mythology will be happening in the underworld. I don't know why they asked me to remind you, but I decided anyway, Sarapul said. She then remembered that she needed to meet with Sona as she was teaching her how to perfect transformation magic. Shoot. I need to get going. Sona is expecting me today. Before Sarapul left, Issei gave her 2 legend rank storage rings. One for her and one for Sona. After that, Sarapul said her goodbye and hightailed it to Sona's house. As for Issei, he sighed at Sarapul, but in the end, he smiled. The way Sarapul acts is one of the reasons Issei loves her. Since it was the weekend, Issei didn't have anything to do and was too lazy to train. From time to time, even Issei wants to have a day where all he does is rest. Hey, system, Issei called. He hasn't rolled his gacha for the day. Issei was hoping to get something interesting. Can you spin the gacha for me? Gacha is now rolling. Congratulations. Issei received challenge legendary. The user may access the reward within the inventory. Huh? That's new, Issei said. This was the first time he received an item that just said challenge. System, can you explain the item I just received? Challenge cards are special category cards that give a challenging quest. Once completed, the user will be able to spin the gacha and gain a guaranteed rarity, depending on the challenge card's rarity. Since the rarity you got is legendary, upon completion of the challenge, you can spin the gacha and get a legendary. How would that work? Issei asked. How would it guarantee the rarity when thousands of items are in a single spin? Can you explain how the item would guarantee the rarity? That's simple. All items in the gacha wheel will be changed into legendary items. Huh? All 10,000 items in the gacha would be legendary. That's quite amazing, Issei said. That would be quite a sight to see. Anyways, can you give me the details of the challenge card? Challenge card Danmachi. Within a world known as Danmachi, a dungeon exists. Reach the 100th floor to receive the rewards. Restrictions will apply while inside the dungeon. Breach of a restriction would result in a failed challenge. Restrictions. Loop of binding cannot be unsealed inside the dungeon. Robe of the sage cannot be used inside the dungeon. Laws cannot be used inside the dungeon. Divine healing cannot be used inside the dungeon. Detect origin cannot be used inside the dungeon. Sever origin connection cannot be used inside the dungeon. Divine regeneration of the vermilion bird cannot be used inside the dungeon. Descent of the lightning dragon cannot be used inside the dungeon. Great barrier of the black turtle cannot be used inside the dungeon. Super strength of the white tiger cannot be used inside the dungeon. Taekwondo cannot be used inside the dungeon. Half-dragon form cannot be used inside the dungeon. Excalibur cannot be used inside the dungeon. Baoming cannot be used inside the dungeon. Enkidu cannot be used inside the dungeon. Dimension farm cannot be used inside the dungeon. Any strengthening magic cannot be used inside the dungeon. There are no restrictions when outside the dungeon. All skills and abilities are available for use and won't breach the restriction of the challenge. Rewards. Legendary Rarity Guarantee X2. Chance Upgrade Card X5. All rewards are given upon completion of the challenge. That's not as difficult as I thought, Issei said. Quite a few of his favorite magic were unavailable, but he has others. For example, divine regeneration of the vermilion bird, he can just use Avalon to heal if he was hurt, which was unlikely due to armor of Fafnir. Rather than the legendary rarity guarantee, I'm more interested in the chance upgrade card system. What does it do? I mean, I have an inkling of what it does, but to what extent, I don't know. It's as the name suggested. The chance upgrade can be used in any of the items received from the gacha. However, the higher the rarity the user wishes to upgrade, the lesser its effectiveness. Rare 80% success rate. Epic 60% success rate. Legendary 40% success rate. Mythical 20% success rate. Demigod 1% success rate. As for the god rarity, they can no longer be upgraded as they've already achieved the peak. Now, I'm excited to do the challenge, Issei said. He was smiling. If he can get the chance upgrade card, then some of his inventory items can be upgraded to a higher rarity. If I can get the chance upgrade card, I can finally raise the rank of Training Room Legendary and increase its ability to break the limit of those that train inside. But most of all, I can't wait to get more challenge cards in the future to push myself. If the restriction of a legendary rarity challenge card is this high, I wonder about the higher rarity version. Issei was smirking. Using his credits to search for challenge cards inside the gacha shop would be worth it. Now that I think about it, I didn't see the challenge card once when I was refreshing the store many times, Issei said. How rare was the card? He didn't know, but the system did. Hey, system. How rare are the challenge cards? Challenge cards are the god rarity of each rarity. They are the rarest of the rarest in their own rarity. As for the reason, you can imagine how much of a cheat it is to be guaranteed a rarity. True that. Imagine getting a god rarity challenge card and completing it. That would be a guaranteed god rarity spin, Issei said. He then had thought of something. System, the higher the rarity of the challenge card, the more difficult, isn't it? Correct. God rarity challenge cards are beyond challenging. Most of the time, the restriction in God rarity would make sure that you are not allowed to use most of your skills, and there would be a time limit to complete the challenge. In the afternoon, Issei wanted to speak to his parents. It was finally time for them to consume the alchemy pills he created for them. He also wanted them to cultivate the Heaven's Path cultivation manual. At least in the beginning stages, but if they want to continue, he'll help them to the end. Issei, what is this all about? Miki asked. She could see that Issei was quite serious. It's been a while since I've seen you this serious. The last time was when you told us about you being part of the supernatural world. I was telling you about how I have something you can train and gain the strength of a middle-class devil this morning, right? Issei said. Miki and Goru nodded at him. Here, take this. Miki and Goru took the copy of Heaven's Path cultivation manual. Heaven's Path cultivation manual. Is this the same cultivation as the things on TV and some of the drama I watch? Miki said. She looked at the manual. You didn't get scammed when you bought this thing, did you? If you did, I would be quite disappointed in you. Trust me, it's not fake. Yang Xin and Ninger cultivates it, Issei said. He then gestures to his parents to read the book. Go on, read its content and follow the guide. Once you complete it, you'll know whether it's real or fake. Miki and Goru started reading the contents of Heaven's Path cultivation manual. However, since Issei's parents aren't well versed in cultivating, it took them 2 hours to achieve the beginning stages of Heaven's Path. As with Yang Xin and Ninger, the moment Miki and Goru achieved the beginning stages, their power rose exponentially and reached the strength of a middle-class devil. Oh, my, Miki said. The strength she could feel emanating from her body was nothing like being a normal person. It felt like the moment she touched something, it would break. This is amazing. I didn't know that cultivation is real. I believed they were only for drama and whatnot. You'd be partly correct, Issei said. Mickey and Goro looked for him for an explanation. So, he did. Our world does not have cultivators and they don't have real cultivation techniques here. But that doesn't mean it's not real in other worlds. Other worlds? Mickey asked. She saw Issei smirking. Her son once again told her something amazing. Is that where you and Rainer went? To another world. That's right. We went to the world of Yang Xin and Ninger, Issei said. Recounting the world of the divine continent, Issei was glad that his family was from Earth. The world they came from was quite brutal. Every day, they faced demonic beast attack or other cultivators who are arrogant and pick a fight. It sounds like one of the novels that Rainer reads, Mickey said. Sometimes, Rainer would leave some of the novels that she reads in the living room and Mickey would read them. She took a liking to some of them. Maybe someday I might get to visit such a world, but not the dangerous ones. Well, in the future, if you both desire to go for an adventure, I can send you to other worlds, Issei said. If it's for his parents, he would gladly let them, but he would send someone to protect them. By the way, here, Dad. Take this. Issei gave the 9-5 brickbat version to Goro. If there is a chance that someone may be capable of infiltrating the house, you can use this and bonk them in the head. One head in the head is all that's required as they would immediately pass out, Issei said. Goro stared at the bat and started swinging it around to test it out. He then smiled. I see that you like it. Yup, it's quite light and balanced, Goro said. He was admiring the bat. I've never held a bat of this quality before. Back in high school, the bats were old and rickety. You can put the bat down, Dad, Issei said. Although Mickey and Goro have already achieved the beginning stages of Heaven's Path, he still has a few gifts to give. Now that you've cultivated the Heaven's Path cultivation manual, I still have a few things to give you. Issei handed a few different pills to Goro and Mickey. They were anti-aging pills, soul-nurturing pills, body-refining pills, and beautifying pills. Hearing the names of a few of the pills, Mickey and Goro didn't hesitate to swallow them. Doing so knocked them out. Issei laughed at his parents' antics. He carried them to their rooms, but he made sure to first cover their beds in a protective film, as the pills would push out some of the impurities from their body, thanks to the body-refining pills and beautifying pills. Inside the dimensional farm, Issei was looking at Yuyan cultivating. She was getting stronger by the minute, but Issei could tell that no matter how hard she cultivated, she had a limit to the strength she would reach. Why? That's because of her damaged divine spark. However, Issei believes that there is a way for her to get stronger than she was before. Even with the issue of the divine spark, he just needed to find it. While Issei was thinking as he stared at Yuyan, the subject of his stare stared back at him. Why are you staring so intently at me? Yuyan asked. The stare of Issei didn't carry any malicious or luscious intent. Yuyan found this weird as no man has ever done such a thing. Could you please stop staring at me? I feel quite uncomfortable. Sorry. I was just thinking of something regarding you, Issei said. While he said that, Issei was still thinking about a way to help Yuyan get stronger with her shattered divine spark. I think there might be a way to help you get stronger even with your shattered divine spark. I believe that Heaven's Path Soul Art can help you in that regard. System, is it possible? Issei asked. Sure, Yuyan is a spiritual goddess, but underneath, she was human. After all, even as a spiritual goddess, her root is that of a human. It is possible. Yuyan can cultivate the main Heaven's Path cultivation, as her body is no longer a human and is now that of a divine. However, her soul still remains human. Hence, making it possible. Here, Yuyan. Take this and cultivate it. It should help you strengthen your soul, Issei said as she handed the Heaven's Path Soul Arts to Yuyan. I don't know how powerful it can make you, but it can help you develop further your cultivation. Yuyan accepted the Heaven's Path Soul Art and read it. She was surprised at how powerful it was. In the divine continent, they cultivate their soul realm and increase the power of the soul realm. However, Heaven's Path Soul Arts don't just develop the soul realm, but the very soul itself. Where do you keep getting these things? Yuyan said. She saw the Heaven's Path cultivation manual a while back when they returned to Glory City. She didn't leave the dimensional farm, but Yang Xin and Ninger entered it. There, she saw the power of the Heaven's Path cultivation manual. All of the manual you've given Yang Xin and Xiao Ninger are leagues above the rest. Not by a small margin. It's like the difference between heaven and earth, mortal and immortal. Does it matter where I got it? Issei said. What was the point of asking the origin of the manual? It's not like you'll head there and steal it, right? Learning its origin is pointless. All you need to know is that it isn't stolen and no one is restricting its usage. I thank you, Yuyan said. She bowed her head in gratitude for Issei's help. He was right. There is no point in knowing its origin. As long as no one was restricting its usage. If you'll excuse me, I'll go and continue cultivating. Yu Yan went back to the spot she was standing on earlier, sat down and cultivated the Heaven's Path soul arts. Even without the divine spark, her soul and body were getting stronger, more so her soul. Issei saw the gradual increase in her soul strength, but it would take time to be of any significance. But it's good that it isn't a sudden increase as it could cause issues due to her shattered divine spark. After watching Yu Yan for a while, Issei decided to head out as it's getting late. Not inside the dimensional farm but in the real world. Issei was tired, not physically but mentally. Thinking for prolonged periods would do that. So, he wanted to have a long, nice bath to relax his mind and body. While Issei was getting ready to take a long bath, Rainer thought it would be great to take a bath and invite the other girls. When Issei got his change of clothes, he headed into the new bathroom that he had created. But in front of the door were Rainer and the other girls. Seems like Kaneko was here as well. "Oh, if you're planning to take a bath here, I can take the other one," Issei said. But Rainer grabbed his hand and wasn't letting him go. "What are you doing? Why bother going to the other one? Let's all take a bath together. Most people here don't care anyway since they're interested in you," Rainer said. She then looked at the other girls. "Am I right, girls?" "Oh, I'm okay with this," Zenobia said. She looked at Issei and smiled. "I'll show you how fantastic my thighs are." Issei facepalmed. Was this because of Rainer? Did she tell Zenobia that he likes thighs? "I'm also fine with Issei joining us," Asia said. The ever-innocent Asia wants to see the body of Issei like the one time she accidentally saw him. I can consider it payback for seeing his body before. Lies. Issei can't tell that Asia was not telling the complete truth. Yes, she wants to consider this payback for her seeing him naked. But Issei didn't even need to use fiery eyes' golden pupils to know she had other thoughts. Asia has been staring at his body and has this slightly lascivious look on her face. As Issei's wife, seeing my naked body is no big deal. For my body and soul belongs to him and only him, Yang Xin said. Although, she was pretty embarrassed. If it's for Issei, she didn't mind. "I'll be in your care, Issei." "Same with Yang Xin, as your wife, this is no big issue," Ninger said. However, she was as embarrassed as Yang Xin. The only wife with Issei at the moment with no same was Rainer. Why? Because Issei has already seen all of her. He even kissed her all over her body. "I'll be in your care as well." Issei looked at Rainer as she gave him a wink. "You guys I guess I'm outnumbered," Irina said. She sighed and decided to forget about trying to convince them otherwise. Looking at Issei, she was curious about his body without clothes. "I'll just wear a towel around my body to cover myself." "Oh. That sucks, but it's good enough," Rainer said. Too bad that Irina was too shy, but it's okay. Maybe next time. If not, then the time after, or time after that. Come on, let's all head in. Kaneko didn't have anything to say since she didn't mind. Although, she was curious about Issei's body since she had felt it whenever Issei would let her sit in his lap. The moment Issei entered the bath, he dropped all his clothes. Since the girls said it was fine, what was the point of being reserved? The girls looked at Issei and started to think perverted thoughts. Issei's body was like that of a Greek god, nothing like a human's body. Although Issei's body isn't bulky, it's more toned and leaner. But someone with knowledge of the body can't tell how explosive the strength hidden in his muscles is. Issei. How can you just take off your clothes in front of a girl?" Irina said. She covered her eyes with her hand, but her curiosity about Issei's body made her leave a gap in her fingers. "Kai. Put something on." "What are you so embarrassed about?" Issei asked. He didn't really see the problem. They were all going to see each other naked inside anyways. I mean, look. Zenobia and the others don't mind. Not even Asia and Kaneko minds. Irina looked at Asia and Kaneko and saw them drop their towel without reserve. This made Irina blush as she would be doing the same. She could wear a towel once she's in the bath, but Irina wouldn't be able to wear a towel while she washes her body. Fine. I guess I'm the only sane person here, Irina said. She was embarrassed to show her body to Issei. But in the end, she decided that there was nothing to worry about and let her embarrassment go. You know what? I guess I wouldn't be able to gain Issei's attention if I'm this reserve. Asia wasn't even embarrassed. Issei and the others might not have heard Irina's words as they've already entered the bathroom, but someone heard. Good for you. Rainer said. She then smirked at Irina. You've finally realized that being reserved and shy won't do you any good. Many beautiful women are vying for Issei. You need to attract his interest by showing him what makes you attractive and unique. Being shy and reserved won't do that. I guess, but I'm not used to doing these things, Irina said. That's true. She was brought up in the church. The church raised us to be quite conservative. Well, I suggest you forget their teaching. Although showing your body to Issei would be a good first step to catch his attention, it wouldn't last long, Rainer said. Issei has seen many beautiful women, but none of their beauty caught his eye. Issei's more interested in a woman's personality, what makes them work hard, their goal in life, and being true to themselves. Irina thought about Rainer's words, and she felt it was right. Issei isn't the same as other men that just look at a woman's body to be attracted to them. So, Irina was now determined. Before, she would get irritated that many women were flocking and flirting with Issei, whom she was envious of. But now, when Irina saw Issei with the girls inside the bathroom, she didn't have such feelings. Instead, she felt determined to be as close to Issei as they were. Issei heard a loud scream in his parents' room the following morning. The duo was asking each other why they were on their partner's bed. Why? Because they look vastly different from the way they did the previous night. When Issei's parents came down to have breakfast, they saw Issei smirking at them. Issei, I didn't think that the pills you gave us would be this effective, Miki said. She saw the way she looked in her mirror earlier. I thought that it would gradually make me look more beautiful, but to think it would do so in a single night. I'm glad you loved my gift, Issei said. He then took out 2 rings for his parents. These rings were legend rank storage rings. This is the last gift that I got for you and Dad. They're called storage rings. You can store many things inside them. Miki and Goru wore the rings on their index finger. They tried to use it, but they didn't know how. So, Issei instructed them on how to use the rings for a few minutes. This is a very convenient item, Miki said. She was thinking of using it when she goes shopping. Miki then looked inside the ring and saw a few things inside. By the way, Issei. Why does it have so many pills inside? They're healing pills meant to be used when you get injured. I kept some inside yours and Dad's ring just in case you needed, Issei said. He likes to take precautions when it comes to his parents. Anyways, I'll be heading to Kuo Academy today to meet with Akeno and the others. I came back from my trip and I have some souvenirs for them. An hour later, Issei and Kaneko left for Kuo Academy. No one else came because they were either too lazy or simply had no reason to go to Kuo Academy. Once in Kuo Academy, Issei headed to the Orc since that's his destination, but Riaz and the others weren't there. Looking around for a little bit, Issei and Kaneko met them in the back of the old school building inhabited by the Orc. It seems like you guys are training Gasper's time control, Issei said. He saw Riaz trying to train Gasper, but to no avail since she couldn't break past the time stop of Gasper. You seem to be struggling. Need some help. Unless you can do something about me being stuck in time, I don't think you'll be able to help, Riaz said. But then she realized who it was that she was talking to. Maybe, just maybe, he has a way to help her. Then again, you're Hyoudou, Issei. The man has shown me incredible things from the moment we met. Ah ha ha. You sound confident in me, Issei said with a smile. He then waved his hand and covered Riaz with the power of law. To be exact, the law of time. The law would protect her Gasper's forbidden bailer, as it's weaker than time law. That should help you. Riaz didn't know what was happening, but when Gasper lost control of his sacred gear and accidentally activated it, Riaz was unaffected. What do you think? Issei asked. He looked at Riaz, who showed a face of astonishment. Too bad it would only last for a few hours. So, I suggest you use this chance to try and help him figure out how to properly wield his sacred gear. Since Riaz was busy, he decided to meet with her a few hours later, after the training of Gasper had ended. For now, he headed to the stucco room as he forgot to explain to Sarapul how to use the storage rings. It didn't take long for Issei to arrive in the stucco room. When he knocked on the door, he heard Sona's voice asking him to come in within seconds. Inside the stucco room were all of Sona's peerage members. Hey, Sona, Issei said as he waved at her. He then smiled. Looking at Sona, he saw one of the rings he gave Sarapul. Sona kept her on her neck with a chain. I see that Sarah gave you the ring. Yes, she did. But she never explained what it was for. She got distracted bragging about her wedding ring, Sona said. If one wasn't observant enough, they wouldn't realize that she was pouting. So, Issei. Can I ask what this ring is for? Ni-chan never explained. Sarah wouldn't be able to explain even if she wanted. I forgot to tell her what it's supposed to be, Issei said. He then took out a ring with a similar design as Sona's. Issei then demonstrated what the ring was supposed to be before explaining. The ring is called a storage ring. There is a storage dimension inside the ring that could be used to store anything non-living or inanimate object. Issei then explained to Sona how to use it. When Sona succeeded in using the ring, she saw that the ring contained many pills. What are these pills for? Sona asked. She inspected it, but she got nothing. Sona has never seen anything like it before. It looks like a marble, but I feel some energy from it. Each container has its own label. You should be able to see what each pill can do, Issei said. Different pills were on different containers with labels to ensure that it isn't mistaken for another. I've kept mana-replenishing pills, healing pills, boost pills, etc. Each container contains at least 1,000 of each pills. If and when you need more, don't hesitate to ask more from me. I'll gladly make some for you. Sona looked at Issei and clenched her fist. She then sighed with her eyes closed and she then looked at Issei once more. From under her desk, she decided to take out a chessboard. Tell me, Issei. Have you ever played chess before? Sona said. She saw Issei nod at her. Would you like to play a game with me? Sona's peerage saw this and they were surprised. From the look Sona gave earlier, they knew that Sona wasn't playing simply because she knew she could beat Issei in chess. No, there is something they saw in Sona's eyes. It can't be. Tsubaki thought. She saw how Sona had been acting different lately. To think that she has fallen in love with Issei and is even challenging him to a chess game. This is new. I've never seen Sona this way before. No way. Why him? Saji thought. He's been interested in Sona, but not once has Sona taken notice of his feelings. No, to be exact, Sona was ignoring it. I understand now. Sona and I were not meant to be. But why did it have to be him? Saji accepted that Sona and he can't ever be together, but why did she have to pick Issei? That's what was going on in his head. What does he have that I don't? Saji thought. He then looked at Issei and his handsome mug. Is it because he's handsome? No, that's not it. Sona isn't that kind of person. Sure, I don't mind, Issei said. He then sat down in the chair Sona asked him to sit on. It's been a while since I played a chess game with an actual board. For the game of chess, Sona was serious. Usually, she would take black pieces to give herself more challenge, but this time, she took the initiative to pick the white pieces. Although, it was pointless. From the moment she made her first move, she already felt pressure from Issei. Sona stared at Issei and saw him with a carefree smile, but she could tell that he was calculating every possible move that she could make. Sona sweated a bit at that notion. This is the first time I've felt this way playing chess, Sona thought. She avoided looking Issei in the eyes as she would feel more pressure when she did so. However, the feeling of being challenged made her smile. This is more exciting than any of the games I've played before. An hour later, the chess game was over with Sona's defeat. The game lasted long, not because of Issei, but because Sona had to take her time thinking of her next move. However, no matter what move Sona made, it would be countered in the next few moves. This is my loss, Sona said. She sighed but also smiled. Sona then looked at Issei with a serious face. Issei, I have to tell you. The moment you defeated me in the chess game, you've become my fiancé candidate. Oh, are you okay with that? Issei asked. Issei already knew that Sona was interested in him, but he wasn't 100% sure, but thanks to Rainer and Sarapul, he could confirm her feelings for him. After all, didn't she kiss him when she thought it was a dream? I don't mind being a fiancé candidate, but are you okay with this? I am, and I've also spoken to Rainer and Ni-chan about this. Although, I didn't tell them I was going for the chess game today, Sona said. She fixed her glasses as a cover to hide her blush. Although you're my fiancé candidate now, and I'm willing to accept you as my official fiancé. I want us to go on a date to get to know each other on a more intimate level. Are you okay with that? Of course. Why wouldn't I be? Issei said. Then he sighed as he remembered that he had promised Kaneko, Akeno, and Asia a date. Unfortunately, you'll have to wait a bit as I promised Kaneko, Asia, and Akeno a date first. Sona giggled at Issei. She already knew about that since Sarapul told her about it. Don't worry about it. It's my fault for falling in love with the popular playboy of Kuo Academy, Sona said. She was giggling. This was not a sight that Stuko sees often. Besides, we have a lot of time to go on a date after the summer vacation. Issei smiled at Sona and said goodbye as he wanted to see if Riaz was done training Gasper. While on his way to the orc room, Issei decided to roll the gacha for the day. Gacha is now rolling. Congratulations. Issei received, Manga, Highschool DxD, common. The user may access the reward within the inventory. On his way to the orc room, Issei suddenly stopped as he read the manga he received from the gacha. Anger and irritation can be seen in his eyes, and the more he read the manga, the more he got pissed. The good mood of having been Sona's fiancé candidate was ruined. What in fresh hell is this? Issei shouted. He couldn't believe that there was a version of him that would commit such vile acts. System, is this a joke? It's sad to say that it's not. The book you're reading is another version of your world. This is pissing me off. Issei shouted. His eye was twitching out of anger. Issei looked at the book in hand and spoke to the system again. System. Tell me. Can I head to the world of this manga? It is possible. Good. After I give Riaz and the others my gifts, I'm heading there. Issei said. He was planning to teach that world's Issei a lesson or two. Right now, Issei's face looks like that of a demon lord. One can feel the anger and irritation in his eyes. Let's see how long he'll survive once he meets me. Oh. I can't wait. As pissed as Issei was, he had to calm himself while meeting with friends. Once more, Issei started heading to the orc room. When he arrived in the orc room, Issei saw that Riaz and the others were there, including Azazel, who happened to become the club supervisor after the Peace Summit. Issei. Thank you so much. Riaz said. Thanks to the power of law, Issei was able to make Riaz move in Gaspar's stop time. I truly appreciate your help. No problem, Issei said. He smiled at Riaz. Seeing Riaz, Issei felt pity for her counterpart from the manga he read. By the way, I came here to give you guys some gifts from my latest adventure. Issei took out multiple legend rank storage rings. He gave one to Riaz, Akeno, Kaneko and Kiba. For some reason, Issei felt a shiver when he gave a ring to Kiba, but he didn't know why. So, he decided to shrug it off for now. Those rings are called storage rings. They can store just about any inanimate object and non-living organism, Issei said. He then proceeded to explain how to use the rings. I also left some useful pills inside the ring that you could use in an emergency, except for Kaneko. I added a boatload of snacks in hers as extra. Kaneko smiled at Issei and started to take some of the snacks out and eat them. Riaz and the others looked inside the ring and they saw many different containers that contained pills. Each was labeled so that they wouldn't make any mistakes about what pill they take. Those are quite an items, Azazel said. He was interested in the ring and Issei could see that, but Azazel wasn't getting one. Do you mind if I can get one and research it? How about no, Issei said. Azazel wasn't a bad person, but why would Issei give him anything when he didn't know him personally? Anyways, I need to get going. I have something important to do. Issei didn't wait for the others to say goodbye before he opened a portal to the front of his house and entered it. Once Issei was home, he entered his room and read the rest of the manga. It honestly infuriates him. Op-I this, op-I that. Is there anything else in the brain of the Issei from the manga? After the raiding game with Riser, Issei in the comics didn't even take the initiative to train harder to ensure that such a loss would not happen again. Instead, he returned to being a pervert who would sexually harass any women he encountered. While Issei was reading the manga, he had a visitor in his room. Issei. I heard from Sona about you being her fiancé candidate. Congratulations. Sarapul shouted with enthusiasm. However, when she saw Issei's eyes, she knew something was wrong. Issei. Was wrong? Issei showed the manga to Sarapul and she laughed her ass off. Why would she do that? To lighten the mood. Sarapul didn't like seeing Issei in such a downcast mood. Her laughing worked as Issei vented his anger and frustration verbally. But in the end, he was able to calm down and no longer look as dejected as earlier. Thanks, Sarah, Issei said. After venting, he was feeling better. Reading that manga pissed me off and ruined the good mood of being Sona's fiancé candidate. Oh, it's okay. Why were you so angry anyway? Sarapul asked. Looking at the book, it was nothing more than a simple book. Someone probably made it as a joke. It's not like it's real. That's the thing. It is real. It's a parallel world, Issei said. He then explained to Sarapul that there are other worlds, such as parallel worlds of DxD or an entirely new universe. Sarapul couldn't believe that she wasn't invited to go to another world. Come on, Sarah, don't pout. How about I bring you to another world next time? Just the two of us. That's a wonderful idea. Sarapul said. She looked at Issei and felt that he would do something to the Issei from the manga. Then bring me to the DxD world of the manga. Before you say anything, I already know that you're planning to mess with that world's Issei. So, count me in. Plus, I want to mess with another world's Ona-chan. Hee. That would be hilarious, Issei said. His mood was finally back to normal. I'm planning to go now. Do you want to join me? Of course. Why wouldn't I? Sarapul said. But then Sarapul remembered Issei telling her that he had just returned from his adventure. But are you okay going to another world so soon? I mean, the peace party or whatever they call it is coming soon. Plus, can we bring Rainer with us? I don't mind going to another world now. The time of our world would be slowed down by 124. 1 day here is 24 in the other world. So, there's nothing to worry about, Issei said. He looked at Sarapul and did a thinking pose. As for bringing Rainer, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I want to beat the shit out of the Issei from the manga, but bringing Rainer would traumatize him further. He's quite unlucky to have such a bitchy Rainer in his world. It'll be fine. I think Sarapul said. She was thinking if it was actually going to be okay. Not long later, she made a decision. Definitely, it'll be fine. What'll be fine? Rainer asked. Issei and Sarapul looked behind them and saw her. When Rainer looked at what they were reading, she got curious. So, she took the book and read it. Rainer felt embarrassed at seeing a version of her act like a slut and a bitch. She even felt worried. What is this? This is nothing like me. I'll never hurt Issei like this. I have no reason to do so. You believe me, right, Issei? Calm down, Rainer, Issei said. Rainer was going crazy from embarrassment. Sure, Rainer wore dominatrix clothing before, but to act the way Rainer acted in the manga was too much for Rainer. But what truly made Rainer act the way she did was seeing a Rainer that killed Issei. I know that you wouldn't do such a thing. The Rainer in the book isn't you. Is it because of this book that Sarapul said something is fine? Rainer asked. Issei nodded at her. You're planning to head to this world, aren't you? I am. And Sarapul suggested you come with, but that world's Issei was traumatized by you. So, I thought bringing you along wouldn't be the best thing, Issei said. He then looked at Sarapul. However, Sarah thinks otherwise. I don't know if I want to come, Rainer said. Not because she would traumatize the other Issei, but because she didn't want to come near him. I don't think I'll ever want to come close to that version of you, Issei. By the way, Issei. Was it also your dream to be a harem king? Sarapul asked. She was messing with Issei. He has a lot of people in love with him, but he doesn't even acknowledge their feelings. Asia, Rias and the Akeno of that world during the Peace Summit are in love with him, but he refuses to accept their feelings. It's not surprising if you consider what Rainer of that world did. He's probably afraid to feel that way again, Rainer said. Rereading the manga, she understood. I think he's fooling himself that the girls interested in him are only joking. I understand other Issei thinking Akeno's flirting is a joke since she's been doing that from the beginning, but not when it comes to Asia and Rias. Issei was thinking the same thing as Rainer. The Issei from the manga tried to protect his feelings from being broken again. Issei pitied the Issei from the manga, but it wouldn't save him from being beaten up. In fact, Issei was smirking and thinking of ways to bash his counterpart. Too bad that the manga ended during the Peace Summit in Kuo Academy. Then again, isn't that the same timeline as his? Issei shrugged his shoulder and held on to Rainer and Sarapul. Issei then remembered that Rainer said she didn't know if she wanted to come with him. However, it was already too late. Dimensional travel activated. Transporting to Draconic Deus Prime in 3-2-1. Draconic Deus Prime. It is said that it was the originator of the Draconic Deus world. Currently, in Kuo Academy, the Peace Summit is happening. Azazel was hastening the signing of the peace treaty, while outside the conference room, things were getting dicey as Kaneko and Gasper were being chased by human magicians. While all that was happening, suddenly, there was a flash of light in the conference room. This made the people inside alert. Vali was responsible for giving access to the barrier, but he was confused. Kateria wasn't supposed to arrive yet. So, why was there a flash of white light? However, when the light dimmed, what he saw shocked him. Issei. Look. Sona-chan. Sarapul shouted. She then dashed at Sona and hugged her. Sarapul then looked at Issei. Nina. Issei, can we bring her back to our world? Looking around the room, Issei saw Sarapul too. I don't think that would be a good idea, Issei said. He then pointed at Sarapul too. I don't think she'll allow us to do so. Get away from my Sona. Sarapul too shouted. She then played tag of war with Sarapul using Sona's arm as a substitute rope. This is my Sona. Get your own. Sona was so confused. 1 Sarapul, 2 Sarapul, what was happening? 1 Sarapul was bad enough. Now there are 2 of them. And they were playing tag of war with her arms. What's happening? Am I dead? Is this the real hell? Sona said. Seeing a second Sarapul has started to make her delusional. Ah. Someone get me out of here. Sona then passed out. Seeing this, both Sarapul became sad. Oh. Sona-chan fell asleep, Sarapul said. She then looked at Sarapul too. This is all your fault. You just couldn't let me have her. What? Why would I do that? She is my Sona-chan. Sarapul too shouted. Sarapul and Sarapul too then started to compete by pushing each other's arms. I would never let my Sona-chan be with anyone but me. This is awesome. Look at their oppi sway as they move. Hee. Issei too said. His face had a lecherous look to it. His nose was even bleeding. I want to touch their oppi. As Issei too shouted that, he was punched so fast that he couldn't even see the shadow that did it. However, it wasn't only Issei too that didn't see it. Even the leaders couldn't follow the person's movement that hit Issei too. Issei. Rias shouted. She ran to the wall that Issei too was stuck on after being hit. Are you okay, Issei? But what happened? Issei too said. He didn't know what had happened. He was staring at the op-eye of the 2 Sarapul, but the next moment, he was hit so hard and so fast that he couldn't think properly. I feel pain all over my body. That's normal. You just got sent to the wall by a powerful force, Rias said. Asia then ran to Issei's side and started healing him. Thank you, Asia. While Asia was healing Issei too of his injuries, the time suddenly stopped. Issei knew what was going on as he remembered Kaneko telling him that she and Gasper got chased by human magician. If the time stopped, that would mean that this world's Kaneko was not strong enough to fend off their attackers. Has time stopped? Rias asked. She found Sona, Tsubaki, Asia, and Akeno stopped. What's happening? Aside from those of superior powers, Vali and Issei were protected by their dragons, and Kiba and Zenobia had protection thanks to their holy swords. As for Riaz, she was holding on to Issei when it happened, thus being protected by a drag. Unfortunately, Asia was not in contact with Issei, Azazel said. But that was not all. Looking around, he saw the Rainer and Issei doing just fine. Azazel didn't know where Rainer came from since he knew she was dead. But seeing as there was another Issei and Sarapul, he figured it out quickly. I'm pretty curious. I get how the other Issei could block the power of the time stop, as he is probably the Red Dragon Emperor of his world. As for Rainer, I know that you're not this world's Rainer, as is the other Issei and Sarapul. But how strong are you to be able to block out the power of the time stop? I don't know how strong I am currently, Rainer said. She knew how strong she was against the cultivator from the Divine Continent, but unlike Issei, she didn't know the difference in ranking. But something like this won't affect me. Rainer was confident, something that Azazel was used to seeing in her. But the way she acted was vastly different from the Rainer that he knew. The stuck-up bootlicker was nowhere to be seen. This is quite interesting. Azazel said. The time stop issue is being forgotten by him. Different. You're very different from the Rainer I know. I can tell that you're not acting either. Please, don't ever compare me to that bitch, Rainer said. She scowled at being compared to that Issei-killing bitch slut. HMPH. She's nothing but an idiot that didn't know a good thing when she met him. Ah ha ha. This is hilarious. Azazel said. This was the first time he had met someone from another world and the difference was enormous. Looking at the Sarapul from the other world, she didn't have much difference. In fact, the only notable difference is the ring on her finger. Other than that, nothing noteworthy. However, the most significant difference was the Issei from the other world. As interesting as Rainer is, you are what truly intrigues me. Not once did you act in the way the Issei I know acts. Just like Rainer, do not compare me to that thing, Issei said. Azazel felt that Issei's words were venomous when he mentioned the Issei he knew. I'm not the type of guy that chases and harass women for their breast all day long now, if you'll excuse me, I have a pervert to teach a lesson. Ooh. This is going to be fun to watch. Sarapul said. She was jumping around. I wonder what this world's Issei will be able to do to protect himself. Rainer then did a facepalm. Issei really went to this world just to beat up his counterpart. But the answer to her question was nothing. I can't believe he jumped between worlds to beat up his counterpart, Rainer said. She sighed at her husband's antics. Well, there is nothing I can do about it. I'm not capable of stopping him anyway. So, I just enjoy the show. Issei then disappeared from his spot and so did Issei too as he was flung once more. This time, Issei too was launched outside the conference room. Issei. Riaz shouted. She tried to head to where Issei too was, but to no avail as she was stopped by a barrier surrounding the room. What is this? Let me out. I need to help Issei. That's not going to work. I think Issei created that barrier to withstand Surzich's full power. I doubt anyone here will be able to break the barrier, Sarapul said. Those words shocked everyone. A barrier that was strong enough to stop Surzich's Lucifer. That's quite a feat. Anyway, let's just watch the show from the window. Outside the window, Issei was pummeling Issei 2. Still, everyone could see that no matter how hard Issei 2 was punched or kicked or smashed into the ground, he wasn't retaining any injuries. Why is that? Because every hit that Issei 2 was receiving was being healed. However, the pain he was feeling was not. The human magicians who were meant to attack the peace treaty were flabbergasted at what they saw. One of them became attentive enough to rally the other magicians to attack. However, the moment they tried to attack, they froze. Not because they were scared. No, they froze in time. Issei didn't want to be disturbed while teaching Issei 2 his lesson for being a pervert. So, when he felt the magicians trying to attack, he used his law of time to freeze them. What just happened? Sarapul too asked as she saw the magician freeze in time. How did the magicians freeze in time as well? That's one of Issei's abilities. He's capable of controlling the law of time, Rainer said. She was smirking at the magicians. They used Gasper to freeze time, but they didn't think they would freeze in time. Looking at the magicians, it's quite ironic that they used Forbidden Baylor View to freeze time, but they got frozen in time as well. Oh right. If I remember correctly, this was when Kateria would infiltrate inside the conference room, Sarapul said. She then saw a magic circle appearing. Sarapul took out Raising Heart and activated it. Hee in our world, Issei killed her with ease by surrounding her with a barrier. It's my turn to do the same thing. Azazel looked at the Raising Heart with interest. But his attention was then taken by the magic circle that appeared. The day, current Devil King Surzich's Lucifer and Sarapul Leviathan, Kateria said. She then bowed her head. She took out a staff and she charged it. What are you doing here? Sarapul too said. But then she remembered that the other Sarapul said that this was when she was arriving. Sarapul too looked at Sarapul and spoke. You knew that she was coming. How? Of course, I would know. It already happened in our world, Sarapul said. She then did a weird pose of hitting her head with her knuckles and tongue sticking out. Anyways, leave her to me. As the staff in Kateria's hand was finished charging and was about to blow up, Sarapul used Raising Heart. Raising Heart. Surround her in a powerful barrier. Sarapul shouted. Divine barrier, Raising Heart said. Kateria was surrounded by the barrier that Raising Heart created. She panicked, but it was pointless. The staff exploded and Kateria ended up killing herself. Where did you get that? Sarapul too shouted. It was super cool. I want one. Where can I get one? Hee. This is a gift from my husband. Sarapul said. She was caressing Raising Heart with her cheeks. Issei is the best. Eh? I think I didn't hear that right, Sarapul said. She looked at her counterpart and she was shocked. Did you say your husband gave you that wand? I did. And my husband is Hyoudou Issei. Sarapul said. Riaz and the others did a spit take. Look. I even have the wedding ring he gave me. Ah ha ha. This is interesting. Azazel was having fun watching things unfold. One of the Satans that is said to have no interest in men is married. Ha ha ha. Lies. Sarapul too said. There is no way that she would marry Issei. She was Sona-sexual and nothing else. There is only one person I love, and that's Sona-chan. While chaos was happening inside the conference room, thanks to Sarapul revealing that she was married to Issei. Outside, Issei was done beating up Issei too. All the anger Issei accumulated due to the shame and embarrassment that Issei too had caused to the name Hyoudou Issei was gone. I'm finally feeling better after beating the shit out of you, Issei said. He then pulled Issei too by the collar and did a punching pose. Now, tell me, are you still going to act perverted? Are you still going to peek and sexually harass women? I promise, I'll stop. Just please, stop hitting me. You're healing my injuries, but I can still feel all the pain from each hit, Issei too said. His entire body was in pain. From head to toe, he could feel nothing but pain. I'll also apologize to all the women who have been the victim of my degenerate acts. Good. Remember this, I'll be watching you. Issei said. He wouldn't be able to return to his world until a month later. Issei can use this chance to watch Issei too to make sure that he has indeed changed. But if he didn't, his beating would start all over again. Let's head back to the conference room so I can deal with the mess that the stupid white dragon emperor has caused. What do you mean? Issei too said. He was rubbing his cheeks, which were swollen even after being healed. The reason is that Issei didn't use divine healing. What does this attack have to do with him? Oh, you guys probably didn't know. Volley was the one that allowed them to get in the barrier, Issei said. He then thought about why Volley did it in the first place, but he forgot what the reason was. Anyway, let's go. Issei dragged Issei too back into the conference room and dropped him in front of Riaz and the others. Wow, your mood looks a lot better than earlier, Rainer said to Issei. She then looked at Issei too and approached him. I feel pity for you. Your first girlfriend killed you, and you've been lying to yourself about the girls around you not having feelings for you. What do you want from me? Issei too asked Rainer as he squeezed his fist tightly. Looking at Rainer, his heart was beating rapidly. He felt lingering fear of her, even after killing the Rainer that caused him harm. You don't have to be afraid. I'm not going to harm you. I'm not like the Rainer that you know, Rainer said. She wasn't anything like the Rainer of this world, and she never will be. Although you're a perverted version of my husband, I still don't have the heart to harm you. Again, everyone was shocked. Rainer was married to Issei. That was easy to figure out as she said those words to Issei too. Kiba, the stoic knight, had a single word in his mind. Whoa. Hold up. Sarapul too said. She then looked at her counterpart. I thought you were the one married to Issei. I am married to Issei. So is Rainer, Yang Xin and Xiaoninger. But I doubt you would know the last two names I mentioned, Sarapul said. She and Rainer then showed their ring to the others. See this ring? This is proof that we're married. And it's the ultimate marriage as our life is now intertwined. Oh, and by the way, Issei is also dating Kaneko, Akeno and Sona. Then there are more people interested in him like Riaz, Irina and Zenobia. The higher-ups of the underworld isn't going to like the fact that one of the Satan is married to reincarnated devil, Sarapul said. She then had a pissed-off look as a realization appeared in her head. Hold on. Did you say that Issei in your world is also dating Sona-chan? That's right. Issei is also officially Sona's fiancé candidate, Sarapul said. She puffed up her chest with pride. As for the old goats in the council, I doubt they would be able to do much against Issei. Plus, Issei isn't a reincarnate devil. He is half human and half dragon. Even I'm incapable of turning Issei into a devil. That's how powerful is he? Sarapul too asked. She was able to turn Behemoth into a devil, but her counterpart couldn't turn Issei into a devil. How does that work? Unless he's so much stronger than you. That's right. Sarapul said. She then did a twirl. A few days ago during the Peace Summit of our world, Issei used his aura to pressure Michael and Surzich's to the point that they couldn't manifest their magic. Surzich's was dumbfounded. He was considered the strongest devil. Yet, his counterpart couldn't manifest his magic after being pressured. Issei's counterpart was stronger than he was. By the way, are the parents of Issei in your world not born from Miki and Goru? Riaz asked. She was curious. If so, who are his parents? Wrong. Issei is born from Miki and Goru. Sarapul said. She loved looking at everyone's confused expression. Issei became a half-dragon through something unknown. He has never told me about it. But if you look at Rainer, you'd realize that she is a half-dragon as well. Oh, Azazel said. Due to the sudden arrival of the trio, he didn't realize that Rainer had the aura of a dragon. How did you do it? How did you become a half-dragon? Samuel is also a half-dragon, but he became an abomination as being a dragon was a curse. While Rainer and Sarapul talked to the others, Issei decided to help Kaneko and Gasper. He opened a portal to the orc room, but no one was there. So, he used his fiery eyes and golden pupil to look for the room with the most energy. He quickly found them. Issei then disappeared from his spot and reappeared behind the magicians holding Kaneko and Gasper captive. Issei coated his hand in the law of death and he touched the magicians. Said magicians disintegrated. Are you two alright? Issei asked. Kaneko looked at him and she felt weird. Looking at Issei, she knew that this wasn't the same person she knew. Nevertheless, she nodded her head. Okay then, I'll bring you to the others. Issei then created a portal back to the conference room. For some reason, Sarapul and Sarapul too were once again arguing about Sona. Were you both arguing about Sona again? Issei said. With Gasper no longer in the hands of the magicians, time returned to normal. Meaning that Sona was back to normal. Hence, Sarapul and Sarapul too were fighting for Sona once more. Can you both stop that? You're making Sona uncomfortable. Sorry, Sona-chan, but Sarapul said at the same time. Sona was still baffled at having two Sarapul hounding her. Just seeing two of the same face is making her dizzy. Seeing Sona of this world being confused at the situation, Issei thought of messing with her further. With a wave of his hand, runes appeared in Sona's clothing and it transformed into a magical girl outfit. Hiya. Sona-chan. So cute. Both Sarapul said. They both fell to the ground and started to spin around in excitement. As for Sona, she turned redder than Ria's hair. She was so embarrassed by the clothes that she was now wearing. How could this happen? Is the question running through Sona's mind. Ha ha ha. You look super cute in that outfit, Issei said. He even gave her a thumbs up. Magical girl outfits do look natural on you. Sona fainted due to embarrassment. Tsubaki had to catch her. However, the two Sarapul on the ground stood back up and started taking a picture of Sona in her outfit. Once the time stop was negated outside the conference room, the devils, angels, and fallen angels eliminated all the magicians that attacked the Peace Summit. Whether the magicians were frozen or not, they killed them. End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys. Before you go, just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.